Hi there, my name is Sofia Hernandez, and today in the spotlight, we are speaking to two amazing people who happen to be sisters as well. Trust me, it's a story that you don't want to miss. Today in the spotlight is Andrea and Alex Sardi. Hey!
Hello!
Okay, so for those that don't know you guys and us and our connection, it's like a whole thing.
Yeah.
But basically, Alex is my roommate.
So I'm Alex.
Alex is my roommate, and she has a twin named Andrea.
Hello, I'm Andrea.
Was my roommate.
Yes, and then kind of all mixed together. So tell people like who don't know you guys a little bit about where you guys grew up, a little bit about yourselves, and what you do now.
Okay, Andrea, you want to take it, or you want me to take it?
Go for it, Alex.
So we were actually born. We're from Miami, but we were born in Rochester, New York. We're the youngest of two other girls. Do you say of four or do you say of two? How does that work?
We're the youngest of four.
We're the youngest of four.
Four sisters.
Yeah, so we have two older sisters.
They're not twins. We always get that.
Yeah, they're not twins. But yeah, we moved to Miami when we were like 2 or 3. Our dad's Venezuelan and our mom is Brazilian. So it's a bit of a mix. And yeah.
What do you do for a living?
So I'm self-employed. I am a brand and web designer. And Andrea is going to school.
I'm going back to school for speech pathology, starting my master's tomorrow. Can't believe it.
Oh, you start school tomorrow?
Yeah. The program is only like 1 year and 8 months, so I'm just ready to dive in so I could start my career.
And what were you doing before? Like what kind of sparked you wanting to go back to school?
So after I graduated from college, I got my license to practice speech language pathology assistant. So I was assisting the speech therapist. But when I moved to California with Alex in 2018, I lost my license. Like the requirements are just completely different. So they wanted me to go back to school and retake all those classes. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what, let me do something else. I've always wanted to work for the YMCA. So I started working for the YMCA. Did that for like 1 year or 2, worked at a high school as a teacher aide as well. And then I just knew I needed to do more. Like I was like, I want to be a leader. I want to make more of an impact, I guess. Even though I was before making a difference, but
I love you.
Yeah, I just wanted to do more. And I knew I needed to go back to school in order for me to do that.
And for people that don't know, to like what I've been able to witness with Alex and Andrea, it's like obviously their sister bond runs deep.
Yeah.
And you guys being twins too, I feel like are even more connected, right? It's like different than just like me and my sister, for example, right? It's like a different kind of bond. And you guys, like you said, moved here to California years ago. What kind of prompted that move and like both of you wanting to do it together?
Alex went to San Diego. Was it 2016?
2016. So I used to work at an ad agency. I think.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's like a lot of touristy clients. And we had some of our clients were here in San Diego, so I would always see pictures. And then I went to go visit in 2016. And then I fell in love. I went back home and I was crying. I was like, I want to move there. And then Andrea and I started a jewelry business in 2017. And we both decided to, or 2016, we both decided to quit our jobs. Like we were both working full time. We were working at the ad agency, at a speech center. Mm-hmm. And we quit our jobs and we decided to do like a month in New York because our sisters lived in New York at the time, just to sell like our jewelry there at markets. And then we're like, if we can do this in New York, why not California? So then we did LA and San Diego for 2 months. We would go back and forth doing markets. And then we just fell in love with San Diego. We didn't even do the last market in LA. We ended up canceling. We're like, we don't want to, so we could stay longer here.
I love that. And that's how I met you guys, was through We Are Andrex. So tell me a little bit about, Andrea, you could take this one, as far as like the start of We Are Andrex, how the idea came about and like what it is.
Perfect. I love this.
The one that started.
Yeah, I mean, kind of. Because, okay, so we've always made friendship bracelets for like our friends. Like it kind of started there, like super creative. This was like in college. we were like making like earrings out of newspaper, right, Alex? Like it was so funny. Out of like bracelets, newspaper. We would make earrings, bracelets, and then we started making chokers when like that became a thing. People were like selling it for like ridiculous prices, and Alex and I, we can do that ourselves. Yeah, we can just do that ourselves. So we started making them, and we weren't selling it. We were just like giving them away to family and friends. And then one day I went to a boutique, and she was telling me about this like farmer's market going on. And I was like, oh yeah, like me and my sister, we make jewelry. We'd love to like have a booth there. But I just don't know. I just like came out, like fell out of my mouth. And she's like, oh, okay, do you have an Instagram account and a website? And I was like, oh, my sister, she's a graphic designer. And she's actually like in the process of doing that and getting it together. And she was.
I had no idea.
I like got this girl's business card. I was like, yeah, we'll be there. We'll be there in 2 weeks. Of course. I call Alex. I'm like, we need to make like 30 necklaces, 30 bracelets. Like we have a farmer's market to go to. She's like, what? And we kind of just started with that. I started taking pictures. So that was our first event. That was 20.
It was more like small artists, like local artists market, instead of like food market, farmers market. It was more like other small businesses too.
And was that like intimidating? Like, I mean, both of you don't have a business background, like having to be out there and with people who probably either like, this is like their one and solely like source of income, or like they've studied this back end. Like, was that weird?
I think we just had fun.
Yeah, we had so much fun. So when we started it, we still had our full-time jobs. It was just like a side thing. And then once we decided to quit so that we can go to New York and California, that was at least my income. And then Alex had some Sidekicks herself too.
Yeah, that's when I started my business. I got my first client, and I was like, oh my God, I can do this. And then it just got, over the years, it just got better. But yeah, I think we just had fun. I think that's what it was. Like, we weren't thinking about the business side. I think once it became full-time, I think that's when it started becoming intimidating. And that's when it became like hard. And we were like, we just wished like that we just did only the creative side instead of the business side. Yeah, that was
the hardest part, I guess, was the taxes.
Yeah.
Especially in California. That was, we learned so much about it. And what was nice too is we met other local artists, and people would come to us for advice, and we learned so much from our experience that we were able to help others out and kind of like fall back on each other and support each other in that.
People would help us out.
I love that.
Love the community.
And as far as so obviously you guys, Andrea's back in Miami. Alex is still here in California, so it's like the first time that they're separated. So sad.
Oh my God, I can't. I miss you. I don't even think about it sometimes, like out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, right? Because we talk every day. I literally talk to her every hour. I'm like, hey, how are you? Even though I just spoke to you.
Yeah, we like stay on the phone each other for like 30 minutes. We're like, okay, just staring at each other. No, just kidding.
But for you two, like, so what made you want to, like, the decision to kind of disband We Are Andrex, right? Because it's been going on for so long. You guys were together. What was that like? What were those conversations like in coming up with that decision?
I think it was also, because of COVID, because we would do at least like 3 markets or 4 markets a month.
Yeah.
And because of COVID, like all of that went away. Like we were only selling online. And then like at first, I think like the first month of COVID, everybody was buying online. Like, small businesses. And then it kind of just like died down. And we realized, we're like, oh, we haven't really made income from We Are Andrex in probably 6 months. So it kind of was just like, it was bound to happen. We knew that Andrea got married in June. So like, I knew that she was going back to school. My business was growing. So we were kind of just like holding on to it. And like Andrea's husband says, it's not We Are Andrex, it's We Were.
No. I don't think we're like that.
We Were Andrex.
I cannot.
Comes up with these things. I don't know how. Oh, no. It's always We Are Andrex.
Always We Are Andrex. We're always Andrex. We are the brand.
Oh my God. I cannot believe you said that. That's too good. Oh my God. And I want to talk a little bit about you guys independently, right? Because now We Are Andrex is kind of ended, and it's kind of been like a new chapter for both of you guys, right? And you guys are doing your own thing, pursuing other passions. So let's start with Alex first.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what you do now and kind of how you got into that. I know you used to work at an ad agency, but kind of moving moving from that to being a freelancer. Because that I think is a lot of people I think are intrigued by it or wanting to do it, but it's like taking that leap of faith to actually like, go forward and be like, I can be my own person.
I feel like I almost stumbled upon it by accident, just because Andrea and I always picture myself like working at the ad agency or like, I don't know, like magazine life or becoming like an art director. And then when we quit our jobs, I was like, I started, when I was working at the ad agency, I started doing like websites on the side either way, like, you know, for my parents are both entrepreneurs. So like that also, you know, I look up to them. And then I was like, oh, I can do your website. Oh, I can do your logo. And then, you know, then people started coming to me. So I would almost do it for free because I was like, I just need to grow my portfolio at this point.
Yeah.
And then when we became full-time We Are Andrix, that's when I got my first client, which is a nonprofit called Curanza. And I still work for them, like to this day. Like I still freelance for them. And, you know, I worked my way up. I actually started as a virtual assistant. I didn't even know what a virtual assistant was. I just applied for it. I was like, you know what?
That's how we just started.
Why not? So I became a virtual assistant for her, and then now I'm their creative director. And I still like control my hours, and I gained, I just gained like a lot of experience through her. So like super grateful for her. And now I have 3 other ongoing clients. So I think like once
your dream client. Talk about your dream client.
My dream.
I'm so proud of her.
Thank you. No, so I just feel like once you find like your person, your client, like it just, I don't know, you start growing more, you just start feeling more confident in it, and then you meet other designers. Like I built like a whole community of freelancers, and everybody is so amazing at what they do. We all look up to each other. But yeah, my dream client is Go Live. So I've been reaching out to Go Live since 2017. Every year, like when I became a freelancer, I reached out to them every year. I applied to be a freelancer for them because they're all freelance designers, independent contractors or contracts. And I reached out to them every year. They're like, oh, we're not looking, or we're not looking at the time. We'll keep your stuff on file. And every year I reached out to them. And the last time I reached out to them was in 2020, and they again said no. And I was like, you know what? I guess it's not meant to be. And then the founder herself reached out to me this year in May, asking. She didn't even ask. She was just like, "What's your schedule?"
I remember that day.
She was like, "What's your schedule like? Are you like busy with work? Like, would love to hop on a call and like talk about the opportunity to hire you or to like bring you on the team." And I was like, I would love nothing more. And I mind you, my schedule was like really crazy at the time. But she even worked around my schedule. Like it was May, and I told her I couldn't start till July because I was just booked with like other projects, and they were okay with it.
And what was that like? Because I feel like when I talk to people on this podcast about like, you know, freelancing, again, it's just difficult. And I feel like people just get very intimidated with the having to put yourself out there and say how much you're worth and coming up with all that. What was that process like for you?
I feel like persistence is key. You just gotta keep going. And if people say no to you, like don't take that to heart. Just like, you know, keep reaching out because you never know, they might either come to you or you know, it may end up happening for you, but I would say just keep going. Like don't stop, you know? Don't stop. Just never give up. I think you just gotta keep going because you're only gonna be holding yourself back by thinking those thoughts of like intimidation and all that. Like once you let go of the intimidation and comparing yourself to others and all that, like you're gonna end up doing it. Like I just think you just have to put your heart and mind to it.
What is the biggest lesson that you think you've learned? And I think maybe like the biggest obstacle that you've been faced in having to navigate it by yourself?
The biggest lesson I learned is that it's okay to not always be busy with work. I think I would make myself feel guilty, like if I had like a week or two where I didn't have work coming in. And that's something that I learned from my mom, because my mom is also my mom is a translator, and she told me, she's like, it's not like crazy busy all the time, because I would be like, I have no work for 2 weeks. And then you just gotta, like, within those times, that's when you just have to, like, really, you know, push through, ask other freelancers, post, there's like Facebook groups, like go on to Facebook groups. Those were like the best for me. And just, you just gotta plan. That's it. I don't know.
I think another thing for you, Alex, like from my perspective, viewing Alex, to not be afraid to ask for help.
Yeah.
Now you have someone that like works with you too, don't you? Yeah. That like you just on projects now. Like if she has too many websites or whatever, like she'll reach out to another freelancer and be like, hey, like can you work on this?
Yeah.
Is that how it works? I'm not sure, but like.
So I ended up building like a community of other freelancers, because I feel like the Facebook, because I was also a part of like a bunch of Facebook groups, and there's always like hundreds of people there, you know, looking for projects or opportunities. And then I just met over the years from like from living here, meeting them at coffee shops, or like what's it called in there? Oh, Creative Mornings, which is like a morning where somebody comes and speaks. So it's like a bunch of other freelancers there. So I've met a few people, and everybody is just so open to helping. So it's like if I ask them like pricing or advice with the client who's being difficult or anything like that, or like they are open to help, and I'm the same way. Like I give back as well. So I just think community has definitely helped. But yeah, I did hire a designer. Like if I'm super busy, I have a girl that takes on projects. So that's another thing that happened this year.
I love that. Help. All right.
Help.
Andrea, tell people a little bit about you. You know, I think you recently got married. We love Mr. Johnny.
Johnny boy.
Can you tell us a little bit about just like the start of this new chapter and kind of what that's been like for you in all aspects, right? In love, in career, in move, in location.
Your love story.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, I don't even know where to begin. I don't even know where to begin. It's so Johnny and I, we've known each other, all of us, since the 5th grade, and me and him, we had a crush on each other, and it didn't become official. Our families have always been close and stuff, but me and him didn't become official until 2014, when he asked me to be his girlfriend. And no, it was great. We've always been best friends, and he is like the biggest supporter, and with each other, like we'll tell each other, like he's like, oh, I want to do AmeriCorps for a year, and he'll like travel for a year, and like me going to California with Alex, he's like, yes, go for it. Like we're each other's like #1 supporter, which is great. And then we got married in June. We had family come, and a lot of family came for the first time ever to San Diego, so that was really neat. So they saw like where we lived and why we fell in love with San Diego in the first place. But we knew we were going to end up in Miami, and we moved at the end of July is when we started our cross-country road trip, and that was amazing. It was like our second honeymoon, we say. We went on a 10-day road trip. We went to like 5 different national parks. And then when we got here, it's been a bit of a challenge almost, trying to ground myself. I feel like I'm just like bouncing between houses, and I'm super grateful that our parents have this apartment that they have that they're renting out to us in such an affordable price. So super grateful for that. And now that school is starting, it's just gonna be like another challenge that I'm like ready for though. Like I've never been so ready for it. I'm not even nervous. Like I just want to like do it.
I want to ask you about that, because I feel like a lot of times we all, right? Like we go through like these chapters, we go through these phases where we're kind of like in this like limbo, not really knowing what's going to happen next, not really having any expectations. What has that kind of been like for you? Like what's kind of been going through your head in these past couple months, weeks, whatever the case is, just kind of while you've been navigating it?
I feel like I've been in limbo for quite some time, because applying to schools, I applied to schools in California, I applied to schools in Florida. So like are we moving to Miami? Are we staying in California? Are we moving to Tampa? That's another school that I applied. So then once we found out that it was an online program, that my school is going to be online, it just meant that Johnny can literally apply anywhere. so now he's in this process of applying to jobs here in Miami and in the west coast of Florida. So like we're still kind of in limbo. But the greatest thing or advice that I can give is like just find your support system. Like we have we're so lucky and that we have like the families that we have and that we can like lean back on and we know that they'll always be there for us almost. Yeah.
I would say it's been a lot of back-to-back changes.
Yeah.
And
it has.
It's just been, but they're all good changes. I think that's
like I feel like I don't want them to think that I'm complaining about it either. Like, no, these are amazing changes.
It's almost just it's new chapters. And I think when it comes to when you're being faced with a new chapter, it's already that in and of itself is like scary and intimidating. But then when you're going into a new chapter with things still, not really secure, like no really strong foundation, it's a little bit more scary,
Yeah. It's been a transformational year, which is funny because on New Year's, our dad asked each one of us, like, what's your word for 2021? And
I want to hear. I love this. Like, I love
and that's
words.
The first time he did that. That's like he's never done that. So I said, I tried to explain what I couldn't find a word. I was just like, I just know it's gonna be a very transformational year for me. Like, I already knew that I was gonna get married. Like, I was thinking of staying longer in San Diego, so I already knew all these changes were happening, and I just knew I would just wanted to like just keep growing and having fun and like letting go a little bit. 2020 was a hard year, and so Gabby, my older sister, was like, I think your word is metamorphosis, which is the process of transformation. And I was like,
I love that.
I love that for you. All right, Andrea, wait, what was your word? I want to know what your word was, Andrea.
What was your word?
Unfortunately, I can't remember it. Oh, I know Johnny's was babies.
Johnny's was babies.
Oh,
but
a weird way.
No, I really can't remember.
The babies of new chapters. It could be that, like
I remember almost everyone's but mine. Like I know Johnny's sister was growth, and I remember I was like, well, that's a good one. Like I feel like that's also me too. Like I'm growing through all these changes and experience. Same with transformation or metamorphosis, but I can't remember my word. Was it patience? Maybe patience. I think it was patience. I feel like that was, even if it wasn't, that's definitely a word that I've been repeating a lot to myself, was patience. Patience with like knowing what school I'm going to go to, or like with all these changes going on, patience with myself, with people around me. I think that might have been it.
Yeah, I'm like, if that wasn't your word, that should be your word.
Yeah,
it will be now.
And two, like you were saying now that you don't feel like you are nervous for this new chapter. What is kind of like your either go-to words or like how you get yourself into that mindset now going, jumping 2 feet head first into something new?
I have been doing a lot of yoga. Or just like stretching out. I need to do more of it. I can't say I've been doing it like every day. But I do know that is something that's helped me feel grounded, and using my diffuser a lot, and also I'm not there yet. I can't say that I'm there yet because it's still a routine that I'm trying to like grasp. It's like waking up early, like just starting my day early, making my coffee, working out.
I'm just laughing because Andrea yesterday, she put in the family calendar, instead of her own calendar, she put on the family calendar, exercise 7, like every day. So all our phones were like, and I'm like, we get it, you're gonna exercise at 7. But I'm like, she's really.
I'm trying. It's my first time using the Apple calendar.
I was gonna say, do you guys have a family calendar? That is amazing. See, my sister tried to do that with our family, and we all roasted her for it. And we were like, "We're not doing this. It's not gonna happen." It's nice. I'm like, no one's gonna use it.
Had it for like years now.
No. Oh my God, I love
reservations, birthdays.
Yeah.
Because also, since we were all separated at one point, like Andrea and I were in California, Gabby and Gabby were in New York.
True.
My parents were in Miami. It was just easy
to know. Yeah.
Where.
But it's so funny. They'll even put like reservations, so we'll be like, "Have a great time at this dinner."
That we're not gonna be there.
Oh,
but okay, so yeah, like definitely like creating a calendar, yeah. And I got an agenda like that. Like just like writing everything down, making lists has helped a lot. But I'm still like learning from it. Like nothing's like set in stone yet.
Yeah.
But once I have that routine, it'd be good.
I think also you, another thing that you've been doing this year is you're expressing yourself more. Like it's not all you. You're also like asking for help or advice, and you're speaking up. I think you're also like speaking up.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, I love you. You said something.
Oh, I love you. Thank you for mentioning.
We're gonna get into this now because I feel like I mean, it's something that me and my sister get a lot, which I only can assume you guys get it a lot too. And it's like the sisterly bond. And I feel like that is very important to talk about. So we're gonna talk about not really like a fact or fiction, but like a little bit of like stances, and you guys can kind
like
of give
twin questions?
Yeah. So
Okay.
like, okay, so who, like when you guys like go out, like how would you decipher, like how in your eyes, Andrea, do you see like the roles that you and Alex play, and how do you see the roles that you and Andrea play?
Okay.
So yes, I know what she's gonna say. I already know.
About the comparisons?
Yeah.
What?
So Andrea and I, growing
I
up,
knew it.
yeah, we would always get like those typical questions. Or, you're the fun twin. You're the quiet one.
Do you feel like you got
smart."
compared a lot?
Growing
Yes.
up, we absolutely did.
All the time.
All the freaking time. So it almost, not that it destroyed us, but like it made us like cry.
It put us down a lot, yeah.
Crying, like we'd almost like believe what they would say.
Oh wow.
So then we just had to like hold to each other and just be like, you know what, like we can't, like we why are we letting them compare us? Like they don't know the truth. We know who we are. Like it doesn't matter what they say. So I just feel like we just own our own personality.
Yeah.
Like we don't really compare anymore.
So whenever people ask us that question, like,
Yeah. No, that's exactly what I wanted. Like, because I feel like me and my sister, we were very close in age, right? Like me and my sister are only 15 months apart.
Yeah.
So it's kind of very similar, right? Like people see us and they always wonder that, like, do we either have like comparison problems, or like do people compare us? And I'm like, not really, because we're so different.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing to compare. Like we're totally completely different people. Like, is that how you feel too? Like I always feel like that's the misconception with twins, that people are like, oh no, because they're twins, they look alike, they're the same. But like usually they're like, at least the friends that I have, they're completely different, you know?
Yeah, we're very similar, and then we also have like some differences as well. I do believe like I'm more anxious than Alex is sometimes. Like I get like nervous easily, and then she'll be like, Andrea,
everything's more laid back.
Yeah, right. Like she'll like call me, like, you know, bring me back. So like that's a great way to compare ourselves, because like we can, when I'm feeling this way, I know she'll be there to kind of like bring me back. Like, no, it's okay. Like it's all good.
And I think we balance. I think we balance each other out in that way. Like, and it's funny because like if I'm crying, like right now when we just moved, right? We just separated. I cried first, and I was like, oh my god, like I don't think I can do this. Like I'm just gonna like pack my bags in a week. I don't think I can do this. Like I woke up super anxious, and she, no, I don't know why I'm not crying. And then 10 minutes later, she starts crying, and it's just like it's funny because like I'm there for her, and then she's there for me. You know?
Yeah.
Like, different times.
I think it's funny because our mom told us that, you know, when we were babies, that whenever Alex would cry, I wouldn't cry, and when I would cry, she wouldn't cry. So maybe it was like us like being there for each other almost since we were kids, since we were babies. She's my roommate.
Yeah.
My forever roommate.
What has it been like to, I always think another question always like when you bring three's a party, right? A Sardi party. When you have a significant other like yourself, you know, and like obviously like Johnny lived with you guys, you know, and you became close with him too. Like, how was that like navigating? And obviously, like you probably dated before Johnny and vice versa. You know what I mean? Like having a significant other in the mix, and like how that plays a factor. Because I think it is a little bit different than like me and like having a sister, right?
Yeah.
Like being a twin, I think it's just a stronger bond.
He probably gets all the questions like that we get. He gets all the twin questions too. Like, oh, how do you not get confused?
How can you tell who's who?
Yeah, how did you know who's
What if you accidentally kiss Alex?
yeah, like those questions.
Didn't he reach for your hand once and you're like, no?
Really? I feel like it's so funny to me because I feel like it's so when you get to know, I don't know, like I think it's just like with everybody, like I can clearly know who you are and I can clearly know who you are. You know what I mean? Like you don't even look similar in my eyes. You know what I mean? Like, which is like so weird because like a stranger would probably think completely different, you know? Like so wild.
But yeah, but living with Johnny was like the first time we both lived with a boy. We've always had you know, sisters. I mean, besides my dad, but we've always like grew up with sisters. So I think we learned a lot living with each other. Communication is key.
And even like I think my question more is like sharing your time, right? Like you went from being just you two to now adding somebody else in the mix, right? Like was that weird for you? Like having to like
I think I had to learn to I don't know, like there would be moments where it's like I kind of felt like, oh, I think that they need their own space, so I'm just gonna like go for a walk or like go for a hike or go hang out with other people so that I can give them alone time. And it would be a point where I'd be like, you guys need a date. I'm just gonna go.
Well, I think because for me, like I would hang out with Alex and then I would hang out with Johnny, or we'll all three hang out with each other, and then I realized I wasn't having a lot of me time. So that was something that like I needed to step back and be like, ooh, like I'm gonna go do some self-care stuff, because I was noticing that I was just putting all my time on for everyone and like no time for me. So that was something that I learned to balance out as well. But yeah, it was funny. Alex would be like, you guys should go on a date, and I was like, yeah, because you know I want to hang out with all like the three of us together, but there are times like, yeah, we do need to go on a time with each other.
Yeah. And for two, I think another thing I think we always get asked is like, you know, challenges that you guys maybe faced growing up, you know, just again as sisters. You know, I think a lot of times it's one way or the other, right? Like a lot of times either sisters are very, very close, like you guys are, like how I feel like my sister and I are. But other times people really aren't, you know, struggle to maybe either have that bond with their sister or brother or whoever it is, you know. What were some of maybe the challenges that you faced when you were younger, maybe how you've gotten over that, or maybe new challenges that you've been faced now as you've gotten older?
Well, I think we spoke about comparison. That was a challenge. And then even, I guess now that we got older, recently, I think it was like a year ago, I noticed those habits were coming, like those old habits of comparing myself to my twin, to Alex. Almost that I had to like look at Alex and be like, oh my God, like make it stop. Like I can't, like I don't know why I'm doing this. Like it was just like a bad old habit. Just like facts that like just so that it wasn't true, like things in my head like, oh, I don't know. I'm gonna be like kind of vulnerable right now.
Okay.
No.
This is actually good.
That's it. No, this is literally what this is all about.
Yeah.
Okay. Everything.
Like when we would go out or whatever, like, oh, like I'm not talking as much, or like Alex is more like the talkative one, or is anyone listening to my stories? Like I don't know, like these I would play these stories in my head that like wasn't true. So I would have to kind of like let it slide, let it breathe through it, and like be myself almost, and not like let that stop me from being myself. So it was interesting because I didn't think that was gonna happen in like my adult years. But yeah, we've gone better at it, I think. Was there another challenge, Alex, that you can think of?
I feel like that was the main one. Yeah. I think with like our other sisters, like because we're all four really close right now.
Yeah.
And but of course, like we're a little bit old. They're a little bit older. So the oldest is like 4 years older, and then it's the second oldest 2 years older than us. So I think that there were like stages in our lives where it's like we were really close, and then like, you know, when I'm in 5th grade, Gabby, the oldest, is in high school already. So we're like, obviously we're not close. So it's just like, I think the older we got, then we just became close again. And
yeah.
Now
I think right now has been amazing.
Yeah, I talk to my sisters every day. I call them, you know, I call them every day.
All the time.
All my sisters, and we're all there for each other.
And it's never been better, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And I think people that don't have that, right, and that may be striving for that, right? Like, I know I've had that happen before, like, where people will comment on like the relationship that I have with my family, or like the relationship that I have with my siblings, and I'm like, how do you do that? Like, we're envious of that. Like, how do you do that? And it's like kind of hard to like articulate, you know, what you do, or like how to get that, you know, because for a lot, I think for us, it maybe just falls into play. Yeah. But like, if you did have to articulate that, right? Like, if somebody wanted to have the bond that you and your sister share, sisters, what would you think would need to be their first step?
they listen to each other, ask them how they're doing. I remember there was a time.
That's a good one, yeah.
Yeah, I remember there was a time where I felt like I was going through a lot. I was going through a breakup, and I felt like nobody was asking how I was doing. So I literally had to tell my sisters. I sat them down. I was like, "You guys need to ask me how I'm doing, because then I'm never gonna. I won't let it out."
And it wasn't because they didn't want to. I mean, I was with Alex. It was just because they thought that they were just giving her space, but that's not what she wanted. She like wanted like, ask me how I'm feeling, you know.
It's hard for me to just like express my. Well, at the time, I think I've learned now, but that was like a few years ago. So at the time, it was hard for me to be like, guys, I'm feeling this way. Whereas now I will call them and be like, guys, like I need help with this. But before, I don't know why I felt like that way. So I definitely think, like asking them how they're doing, listening to them, giving them the best advice that you can.
Yeah. I genuinely like love my sisters. Like I admire them. I think they're all so talented in their own ways. But like it's not, yes, we have this sister bond, but it's like also like a friendship. Like I'm friends with them. Like I want to tell me about your day. How are you feeling? Like, let's go through this together almost, you know? So just like creating that bond with your sisters. And if you don't have any siblings, then I mean, you have your friends to lean back on and create that bond with, you know?
Yeah. I want to ask you both as a send-off question. And I just love this because I always feel like it's so interesting to hear like what they tell themselves, or like words that they live by, like day in and day out, right? Because we each have like something, you know, like something that like is like what kind of gets them through, or like when they see it or they hear those words, they're like, that's my saying, like that's my go-to. Do you guys have anything like that? Like something that like either like a saying, it doesn't have to be shared. It could be like.
I think I know yours.
What?
I don't know. Are you gonna say that?
I was gonna say two. Well, I was gonna say two.
Okay, go.
I was gonna say, because it's something that our grandma like would always say: celebrate life, right? Was that what you were gonna say?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Celebrate life, and then what was my other one? No, the other one was just funny. It was just stupid. It was Quien te manda. It was just Quien te manda. My dad makes fun of me because I would always say that. Quien te manda? What does Quien te manda mean? Like, who told you? Who cares? Like, who told you? Yeah. No, but definitely celebrate life. That one was the more serious one. What was another one on it? What would you think?
Celebrate life is one of them, which is means like, you know, just like don't take it too serious. Oh, of course you like take it serious, but also like, you know, celebrate the good, celebrate the bad.
Yeah. And the little things in life.
Yeah, it's like if something bad's happening, there's always gonna be like a full circle for it. You know, you're gonna learn something from it. So celebrate life. And the other one that I've been really into is lead with love.
Yeah.
Lead with love. You know, always have good intentions and like with, I guess, like not really a purpose, but just do it with love, and it will come back to you. I love that.
Yeah. Give, and it'll come.
Give.
Give. And you'll receive it. You'll receive the love.
So give me a hug.
This is we literally are so hug. I love you both so much. Thank you guys for being on the Spotlight. And if you guys want to catch another episode of the Spotlight, this airs every single Thursday. So make sure to check it out on your streaming platforms. Alex, Andrea, thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate you. Thank you.